Okay, the Rainbow Warrior visits Seattle. There she is. Hey, what's this? Looks like you're in jail.
I am. What I'm doing here is I'm representing the 30 activists. We have 28 crew members and 2 freelance journalists are being held in a Russian jail right now in Murmansk, Russia. And so what happened is they were doing a peaceful protest against the oil rigs of Gazprom, and the Russians responded quite heavily with firing shots into the water and actually detained all the crew members. And so a lot of them are in solitary confinement in jail right now, and what we're doing here is we're sending signatures to the Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak asking for their quick release, because what they originally charged was this piracy, and but now the charges have been dropped, but it's still hooliganism. Hooliganism is still a maximum sentence of 7 years, and that's a lot to pay for doing a peaceful protest. So what we're doing is sending as many signatures as we can to them. I think we're getting close to 2 million signatures, so every little bit really helps. So
yeah.
We're
Good
getting
stuff.
as many signatures as we can. So if you care to sign, that'd be most excellent.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Camera, but I would say that we are the Seattle Greenpeace office, and we're here to support the Rainbow Warrior.
Hey, awesome.
Welcome. Second largest sailboat in the world. It's pretty rad.
Great.
So I'm Jackie Dragon, and I'm an oceans campaigner with Greenpeace, working on our Bering Sea campaign. We're working to protect the largest underwater canyons in the world. These are canyons that have coral and sponge habitat in them that are very, very important for fish in the ocean. These are the places where fish can rest and get out of the current. It's where they can spawn. It's really what we like to call the living rooms of the sea. Fish need habitat if they're going to grow up so that they can swim into the mouths of fur seals and sea lions, and of course even into fishermen's nets. We want to make sure that there are fish for the future. So we're asking the North Pacific Fishery Management Council to protect the most important habitat in the Bering Sea, the corals and sponges that are down in the canyons that support the entire healthy, complex ecosystem so that we can have sustainable fisheries for the future.
All right, so welcome to the Rainbow Warrior. It's the first ship that we've had built and designed specifically for Greenpeace purposes. So from the ground up, it was our design, and every step along the way we made choices on the material and the design to make it as environmentally friendly as possible. So we'll be going on board today and showing you around the ship a little bit, what it's used for and some of the different features that make it as unique as it is. So we're going to start by heading right down the gangway here.
And what about these huge masts?
Sure, yeah. These huge masts are called A-frame masts, which is a pretty unique design. They are 180 feet from the water, so 180 feet tall total. And this design is unique for a couple reasons. We're the largest ship in the world to have A-frame masts, and we did this specifically so that we can have a helicopter land on deck. And we are the only ship in the world that is a sailing vessel that can land a helicopter on it. And I'll explain that down on the helipad. So come on down the gangway here. Do watch your step, it's moving. It can be a little shaky. Okay, great. So here we are on the stern of the Rainbow Warrior, and this is our helicopter pad. You'll see a big white H here painted on the deck. That's where the helicopter will land. When it does so, the boom that you see above me swings out to the side, and all the supporting cables are taken down. And all of the gates around this helipad will fold down to allow the helicopter to land. Now, the A-frame masts aid in this for a couple reasons. They have enough stability that we can take off these stabilizing cables for a while, and it won't affect the masts, allowing the helicopter to land. And the other thing the A-frame mast does is it's created a space in the middle of the ship that allows us to actually store the helicopter on board. So we have a cargo bay big enough to hold a helicopter. So the helicopter will land right here on deck. Its blades will fold up, and we can move it right back into our storage container back there, which I can show you, so that we can bring a helicopter with us while we're at sea. That serves a couple purposes. It helps us in the research we do, and it also helps us scout for illegal fishing vessels when we're trying to confront illegal fishing around the world. All right, so this is where the helicopter would be stored if we had it on board right now. Right now it's just used for general purpose storage. We don't have a helicopter with us if it's not going to be necessary for our trip. So we'll stop here for just a second to take a look at this smaller boat that we have on board. This is called a rigid inflatable hull, otherwise known as a RIB. A lot of people, when they picture Greenpeace, they see us zooming around in little boats trying to take direct action at sea. These are the boats that we do that with. If you move forward a little bit, you'll see that the RIB is actually stored on a crane, so it's ready to launch at any moment. And it can be lifted out and over the sea and put down pretty easily and pretty silently, so that we can launch quickly whenever we need to. And this RIB on board and the other one that we have been with Greenpeace for a long time, so they have seen quite a bit of action around the various seas of the world. Again, these are used to do everything from confront illegal fishing to illegal whaling, protest Arctic oil drilling, and even coal exportation in all sorts of different places.
So this is that big mast, huh? This big thing.
Yes, this is one of the kind of bottom legs of part of the A-frame mast right here. And that A-frame design does give it quite a bit more of a sturdy support system, which means we can have a lot more sail and a lot higher winds.
And you can sit around on those benches up there, huh?
One could, I haven't. And if I sit around, you need to be tightly and securely fastened to the mast so as to properly and safely repair things. Yes, absolutely. So one unique feature of our ships is that it does have access to the internet all over the world. This is important for several reasons. It allows us to get our research and our photos out to the public much more quickly. It also means that we can communicate with the outside world quickly and easily when need be. This came in very useful recently on our sister ship, the Arctic Sunrise, which is another Greenpeace ship. It was up in in the international waters north of Russia when the Russian government decided to board our ship with armed guards. So 15 or 16 guards carrying guns and knives got on board and took the whole crew captive. And the only reason that the rest of Greenpeace knew that was going on so quickly is that 3 of the crew members on board the Arctic Sunrise locked themselves inside our communications room and were live tweeting while it happened. So we were seeing tweets come in saying that the ship was being boarded by men with guns, that they were taking the crew at gunpoint on the helipad of that ship, and that they were trying to break into the communications room, which is when we stopped hearing any more tweets. The 30 people on board that vessel, the Arctic Sunrise, are now in prison in Russia. They've been in prison for about 39 days now. Initially they were charged with piracy, which is absolutely absurd. They were peacefully protesting Arctic oil drilling in international waters. So the boarding of the vessel in the first place was illegal, let alone then charging everybody with piracy. And those 30 people did also include 2 freelance journalists who are still in prison. Greenpeace, as an international organization, is doing everything we can to get our people out of jail. And you can help by going to greenpeace.org. Right on the front, you'll see a petition to free the Arctic 30, and every voice really does count.
The microphone. Hello, my name is Andres. I'm from Chile, and I'm one of the engineers on board. And basically, what I want to say is about the fuel consumption on board, which is the more important things, because we're a sailboat. We use the sail mostly we did a crossing from Taiwan to Vancouver in Canada. We were 6 or 7 weeks at sea, and we spent like 95% of the time we were using the sails, which is really amazing. We were like making 7 knots average, and we just used the main engine when we went to China. We had to go to China because it was a typhoon. And we had to use the main engine and put a lot of speed to get really quick to China and wait there until the typhoon was gone. That's basically. When we sail, we use one generator to make electricity for all the instruments on board, all the electronics, all the computers. And then the fuel consumed can be like from 45 liters to 50 liters per hour. It means we spend like 600 liters per hour, which is nothing for 800 tons. That's the weight of the ship. What else I can say? To set the sail here, we need just 2 persons. So with 2 persons, you can set the 5 sails in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Questions?
In terms of not just the energy, but the autonomy of all the water and food and so on, how much time out the ship can be without resupply?
I can 45,000 liters of fuel that we can get on board, and we can make water, and we treat the sewage, we treat also the oily water, and also the fridge. That big, we got 2 big fridges. I think we can be 6 months on the water without problem, because if we use the sails, we are not consuming any fuel. We are just run 50 liters per hour. I mean, nothing. And also, if we got 3 generators, we can use the small one, and it's like a 25 liters per hour, 50 liters per hour, which is amazing. And water, as I said, we got 2 machines here that we can take some water and make water.
How often do you have to go to dry dock and have a big paint job and all this?
The last time was not a paint job. It was just clean the hull, because we were going to the southern Antarctic island in New Zealand, and it's like a big national park. And to get the permission to get there, we had to take the boat to dry dock, clean it, get the certification, and go down. But now it was clean. They cleaned the hull in Korea, and in the closer to here is a lot of seaweed again. It means soon we have to take it to dry dock and clean it again. What happened is because the paint is environmentally friendly paint, and I think the seaweed like it. Yeah. Any other question? Anything that I can say?
That's great.
Sorry if I get lost sometime, because I've been here almost 2 hours talking the same time.
Okay, looks like everybody. Hello, my name's Silas. I'm a crew member. I'm a deckhand on board. I just joined this tour about a week and a half ago, and I'll be on board until about the middle of January. About 3 months is the normal tour length for a crew member. And then I'll just explain a few basics of the bridge and try and keep it quick. I'll hopefully have a couple of minutes for a answer any question and answer. We've got the helm here. Everyone expects like the big captain's wheel, but this is it. It's actually larger than the helm on some of our other ships. It's about this big. If we're out in open water, most of the time we'll be using the autopilot, which we operate with this little dial here. We've got our throttle here, ahead, astern. We've got several types of compasses. We've got a magnetic compass up here. We've got a gyro compass right here, operating off a gyroscope, spinning down below us. We've got a satellite compass. We have our wind speed indicator here, both true and relative to our speed and direction. We've got VHF and UHF radios, these telephone-looking things here. We've got our radars, 1 and 2. We've got rudder indicator, showing us where the rudder is at. So right now it's at midships. We've got electronic charts right here. In addition to this, we need paper charts, which we have in under that table there. We've got several GPS over there and here. We've got over on that far screen over there, we have systems information on the ship. So we have electrical load, engine temperature, and fuel consumption and everything, and that's helpful for when we're sailing. So we have sails. We also have a main diesel engine, which we use mostly just for maneuvering in and out of port. And then we also have what's called E-drive. So we have an electric motor that's powered by a smaller diesel generator. And we can see in real time what our fuel consumption is. So when we're putting the sails out and trimming and trying to be the most efficient, we can see how it's affecting our fuel consumption, and that helps us be more efficient. We've got this little panel here, controls our bow thruster, which is a separate propeller located up forward, facing sideways, and that's just used for maneuvering coming in and out of port. It helps us steer around real tight. We've got this black panel back here. This has our watertight door indicator. So shows us which, we have lots of hatches and watertight doors around, shows us which ones are open or closed, which when we're out sailing out on open water need to be closed, make sure you don't take on water that way. Yeah.
Alright, so in here is the gallery of the ship and the mess hall. This is where the crew eats and relaxes in their downtime. We do have a cook on board at all times who cooks 2 square meals a day plus some extras for breakfast. Right now our cook is Ronnie from the Philippines, who's been making excellent food while we've been in port. So this is the lounge where the crew really gets to relax and spend some time together in their off hours where they're at sea. You'll see that they have a library to keep themselves entertain through reading. If you go over to your left, you'll see some guitars strapped to the ceiling there so they don't fly around while we're sailing. We got a lot of warm welcomes while we're traveling. So we've got welcome cards from kids in Bali, postcards from Germany. We've got a nice drawing of a dolphin here from Hong Kong. And since the crew lives on board 3 months on and 3 months off, that means for 6 months a year, this ship is their home. So the Rainbow Warrior is 2 years old now. It was premiered in 2011, just October, so it just actually had its 2-year birthday. And it's been making an around the world tour, which this is its first time on the west coast of the United States here in Seattle, and it's going to be heading down to the Portland area and then San Francisco and maybe Southern California. And it's doing a couple things while it travels. One is connecting with our supporters. Greenpeace is an entirely independent organization. We don't get any money from corporations or governments. So that means our 3 million members around the world provide us with all of our funding, including the funding for this ship. This is, as I said, the first ship that's been designed and built for Greenpeace, and we actually had a crowdsourcing website while we were trying to get it built, where people could go on and buy anything from a $1 bolt to a piece of handrail to the entire mast system. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people helped us build this ship. So we do like to bring it in and give free tours so that the public and our supporters and the people who helped us build it can come on board and experience the ship as well, because it's as much theirs as it is ours. Here in Seattle, we're doing a couple things. Aside from connecting with our supporters, we're also raising awareness about the need to protect the Bering Sea. So the Bering Sea is off the coast of Alaska, and it's home to the Grand Canyons of the sea. They're these massive underwater canyons that are larger than the Grand Canyon. You really have to only see them from space to understand their size. And they house some really important ecosystems of coral and sponges, the kind of base of the ocean. And that base is what allows ocean life to thrive. It allows fish to grow and gives them a place to nest so that they can grow up and become big and provide whales and sea lions and everything else with food and sustenance, as well as humans. 50% of the fish that we get in the United States is from the Bering Sea. Unfortunately, right now, these canyons are being overfished with bottom trawlers. That means these huge industrial fishing vessels go through and drag giant nets the size of football fields over these ecosystems and destroy everything in their path. And what that means is that if we wipe out those ecosystems, we'll wipe out the entire ecosystem of that ocean. So Greenpeace right now is trying to get those canyons protected as marine reserves so that that type of fishing wouldn't be able to be done there. And people in Seattle can help. 3 of the people that have the ability to make the decision to protect those canyons live in Seattle or Washington, and they very rarely hear from the public. So we've been collecting petition signatures and photos to send to the decision makers so that they can see that people really do want sustainable oceans and protection for these canyons. And if you go to greenpeace.org and search for Bering Sea, it'll send you right to the website that'll do that for you.